The sun was high in the azure sky, casting bright rays over the savanna, creating a dazzling landscape that seemed to stretch endlessly in every direction. It was a peaceful afternoon, with the gentle rustle of leaves and the distant sound of birds chirping filling the air. And if you like the story, remember to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell. Sam Mitchell, a passionate wildlife photographer, crouched low behind a bush, adjusting his camera lens to capture the perfect shot of a nearby herd of wildebeest grazing. With every click of the shutter, he felt a rush of excitement. This was the moment he had been waiting for, a chance to showcase the beauty of nature in its rawest form. But just as Sam prepared to take another photo, a sudden noise pierced the tranquil atmosphere. It was a distressed whinny that cut through the calm like a knife, sending chills down his spine. The sound was filled with panic, and Sam's heart began to race. He recognized that cry all too well. It belonged to a horse, and it was in trouble. As he peered through the lens, his gaze was drawn to a shocking sight unfolding in the distance. There, in a patch of ominous quicksand, a magnificent horse struggled desperately to escape. Its hooves sank deeper with every frantic movement, and Sam could see the fear in its eyes. The scene quickly shifted from peaceful to perilous as he noticed two leopards stalking closer, their sleek bodies low to the ground, eyes gleaming with a predatory focus. The horse, unaware of the approaching danger, continued to struggle, whinnying louder in its frantic attempt to break free. Sam's instincts kicked in. He couldn't just stand by and watch this unfold. The savanna was known for its harsh realities, but he never expected to witness such a dramatic struggle so close to home. Gripping his camera tightly, he began to contemplate his options. He could document the tragic scene unfolding before him, capturing the raw struggle of life and death, or he could intervene. The choice was daunting, but in his heart, he knew he couldn't turn away. With each second that passed, the situation escalated. The leopards inched closer, their movements fluid and silent, while the horse continued to flail, its strength waning as the quicksand pulled it down. "Come on, come on," Sam whispered to himself, feeling a surge of urgency. He had to do something. He couldn't just stand there. His heart raced as he calculated the distance. If he acted now, there might still be a chance to save the horse before the leopards attacked. Gathering his courage, Sam set down his camera, knowing it would have to wait. He took a deep breath and began to sprint toward the horse, adrenaline coursing through his veins. "Hey! Over here," he shouted, trying to distract the leopards. They turned their heads, momentarily intrigued by his loud voice, but Sam's attention was focused on the horse. With every frantic moment that passed, the fear of losing the horse grew stronger. As he closed the distance, Sam spotted a long branch lying on the ground nearby. If he could reach it, he might have a chance to help the horse. He dove for the branch, grabbing it with both hands as he approached the struggling animal. "You can do this," he encouraged the horse, feeling a strange connection as it turned its head to look at him. There was a flicker of hope in its eyes, a spark of recognition that urged him to push harder. The leopards, however, were still a looming threat. They shifted their focus back to the horse, calculating their next move. Sam felt a surge of fear, but he pushed it aside. He couldn't let that stop him. "Stay back," he shouted at the leopards, waving the branch to make himself look bigger and more intimidating. "This horse is not your dinner." As he reached the edge of the quicksand, Sam positioned the branch for leverage, ready to pull the horse up. The moment felt surreal. He was in the midst of an extraordinary event, caught between the instinct to photograph and the urgent need to save. "Hold on," he yelled, trying to reassure the horse. He couldn't let it see his fear. He had to be strong for both of them. Just then, the horse gave a mighty heave, trying to free itself. The quicksand shifted beneath its hooves, and Sam felt the ground tremble. He braced himself, eyes darting between the horse and the leopards, who were now preparing to launch their attack. Would he be able to save the horse before it was too late? As he took a deep breath, steeling himself for what lay ahead, Sam realized that this was a defining moment, a chance to intervene and possibly change the course of fate. With every ounce of strength he could muster, Sam leaned into the branch, shouting louder to distract the leopards. "Hey! Look at me," he cried out, his voice echoing in the quiet savanna. The leopards hesitated, momentarily confused by the noise, but it wouldn't last long. He had to move quickly. The horse needed him, and he was determined not to let it down. As the sun beat down on the savanna, time felt like it was slipping away. Sam could see the leopards inching closer, their eyes locked onto the horse. "Come on," he urged, pulling with all his might on the branch, trying to give the horse the leverage it needed to escape the quicksand's grip. But just as he felt the horse start to budge, a terrifying growl erupted from one of the leopards, sending a shockwave of fear through Sam's heart. They were ready to pounce, and he knew he had only moments to act. The tension mounted, and Sam's mind raced. How could he save the horse and fend off the predators at the same time? The horse whinnied again, its voice filled with desperation. Sam locked eyes with it, feeling an unspoken connection, a shared determination to survive. He couldn't let fear control the situation. With one final push, he pulled on the branch with everything he had, shouting, "You can do this. We'll get you out." Suddenly, just as the leopards lunged forward, the horse took a powerful leap, its body bursting free from the quicksand's grip. Sam watched in awe as the animal surged forward, but it wasn't clear if it could evade the leopards. The struggle had drained its energy, and they were mere seconds away from a deadly encounter. Sam's instincts kicked in. "Get away from her," he yelled, stepping in front of the horse as it stumbled to regain its footing. The leopards hesitated for a moment, surprised by Sam's presence, but the moment of distraction was fleeting. Would he be able to protect the horse from the hungry predators? The scene was unfolding rapidly, and Sam felt the weight of the moment pressing down on him. As Sam stood frozen at the edge of the quicksand, his heart raced faster than ever before. The leopards, sleek and agile, moved with predatory grace, their eyes locked onto the horse, who was now struggling harder than ever. The horse let out desperate whinnies, its powerful legs sinking deeper into the gooey mud. Sam's thoughts raced. He had to do something, anything, to save the animal. Taking a quick glance at the leopards, Sam noticed their muscles tensing. They seemed to be calculating their next move, and it was clear they wouldn't wait much longer. With each passing second, the situation grew more dire. Sam's instincts kicked in. He couldn't just stand by and watch this unfold. He remembered the stories he had heard about animals in distress and the lengths some people would go to help them. "This is my chance to make a difference," he thought. Summoning every ounce of courage, Sam stepped away from the cover of the bushes and sprinted towards the horse. He knew he would have to divert the leopard's attention away from their prey. "Hey! Over here!" he shouted, waving his arms above his head as he ran. The leopards momentarily turned to look at him, their golden eyes narrowing in curiosity. Sam's heart pounded in his chest as he realized he had their attention, but he had no idea how long he could keep it. "Stay calm," he muttered to himself, focusing on the task at hand. The horse continued to struggle, its panic evident as it kicked and whinnied in fear. Sam felt a wave of sympathy wash over him. He was afraid, too, afraid of the leopards, afraid of what could happen to the horse, but he couldn't let fear paralyze him. He had to be brave, not just for himself, but for the horse who depended on him. As he neared the quicksand, the ground beneath him felt unstable, and he had to be cautious not to slip. He grabbed a sturdy stick that lay nearby, hoping it might help him create a distraction. "I won't let you get hurt," he shouted, swinging the stick in the air to emphasize his determination. The leopards seemed intrigued, watching him closely, but they didn't yet see him as a threat. Just then, Sam heard another whinny, sharper this time, and the urgency of the moment hit him like a wave. He could see the fear in the horse's eyes, and it spurred him on. "Come on, buddy, hang in there," he yelled, his voice filled with encouragement. The horse shifted its weight, and for a brief moment, its eyes met Sam's. In that instant, he felt a connection, a silent understanding that this horse was fighting for its life. As the leopard circled, Sam knew he had to act fast. He waved the stick again, this time shouting louder, "Get away from the horse!" The leopards glanced at him, their expressions calculating, their movements still fluid and confident. They were predators, and they were accustomed to getting what they wanted. Sam's heart raced as he realized that he was standing between two powerful creatures and a frightened animal, and he needed to protect the horse at all costs. And if you like the story, remember to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell. The leopards were now only a few feet away, their sleek bodies poised and ready to spring into action. Sam's mind raced, thinking of every wildlife documentary he had ever watched. He recalled the importance of making noise to scare off predators, but in the back of his mind, he also knew that wild animals could be unpredictable. "Focus, Sam," he whispered to himself, trying to stay calm. He needed to be strategic, just yelling wouldn't be enough. "I need to get you out of here," he said softly to the horse, trying to keep his voice steady. He searched the ground for anything that could help him. He spotted a longer, thicker branch lying near the edge of the quicksand. It wasn't much, but if he could get it to the horse, maybe he could use it as leverage to pull the animal out. With a surge of determination, Sam dashed to the branch and lifted it, feeling its weight in his hands. He turned to face the leopards, brandishing the stick as if it were a sword. "You want this horse? You'll have to go through me first," he shouted, his voice echoing across the savanna. The leopards paused, their eyes narrowing, and Sam could see them considering their options. Suddenly, one of the leopards lunged forward, its muscles coiling like a spring. Sam's heart dropped as he instinctively swung the stick, narrowly missing the leopard as it darted back. The other leopard watched, crouching low, ready to pounce. "Stay back!" Sam yelled, adrenaline surging through his body. He had to keep his focus, he couldn't let fear take over. With the horse still trapped in quicksand, Sam realized he had to act fast. He threw the stick to the side, hoping to redirect the leopard's attention. "Over here," he yelled, moving away from the quicksand and waving his arms wildly. The leopards hesitated, glancing between him and the horse. Sam's heart pounded as he took a few steps back, trying to lure them away. The horse continued to struggle, its hooves sinking deeper with each frantic movement. Sam could feel the urgency growing inside him. He couldn't let the leopards take the horse. He had to do something, and fast. "Please, someone help," he shouted, hoping that someone nearby might hear him. Just then, the sound of rustling leaves caught his attention. He turned, hoping for backup, but instead saw nothing but the vast emptiness of the savanna. Time felt like it was slipping away, and he knew he had to find a way to save the horse before it was too late. The leopards seemed to sense his desperation and began to close in, their predatory instincts kicking in. Sam's eyes darted around, searching for anything that could help. He recalled how animals sometimes responded to loud noises or sudden movements. "Maybe I could make myself look bigger," he thought. With no other option, Sam took a deep breath and shouted, "Get away from that horse," as loudly as he could, raising his arms above his head. The leopards paused, momentarily taken aback by his unexpected display. That split second of hesitation was all Sam needed. "I have to save you," he shouted to the horse, who was still trapped but looking more alert. He made a dash toward the horse, ready to grab the branch he had seen earlier and use it to help pull it free. "Hang on, I'm coming," he yelled, feeling a mix of fear and determination course through him. He quickly reached the edge of the quicksand, grasping the branch tightly. "Just a little more," he urged the horse, who whinnied softly, seemingly aware of his intentions. Sam quickly positioned the branch against the horse, trying to create leverage. He could feel the ground shifting beneath him as the horse shifted its weight. With a surge of effort, he began to pull, his muscles straining against the quicksand's grip. "You can do this. Just trust me," he encouraged, hoping the horse could feel his determination. The leopards circled closer, their patience wearing thin. Sam could see their eyes glinting with hunger, and a sense of dread washed over him. He couldn't let them win. He had to save the horse. As he pulled harder, he felt a slight give from the quicksand. "Come on. One more push," he yelled, summoning every ounce of strength he had left. Just then, as if sensing their impending defeat, the leopards lunged toward him. Sam felt a rush of panic. "No," he shouted, flinging the branch at them. The leopards hesitated for a moment, and that brief pause was all he needed. With a final effort, he pulled with everything he had, and the horse stumbled forward, finally breaking free from the quicksand's grasp. Yes! Sam shouted in triumph, but there was no time to celebrate. The leopards had regained their focus, and now they were zeroing in on him and the horse. Run! Sam yelled, quickly leading the horse away from the quicksand, hoping to put some distance between them and the predators. The horse followed closely, still trembling from the ordeal, but grateful to be free. Sam could hear the leopards behind him, their growls growing louder as they pursued. Keep going, he urged the horse, sprinting forward, adrenaline fueling his escape. As they dashed through the tall grass, Sam could feel the ground trembling beneath their feet, and he glanced back to see the leopards gaining ground. We have to get to safety, he shouted, his heart pounding in his chest. But where could they go? The savanna stretched endlessly in front of them, and Sam desperately searched for a refuge from the hungry leopards. In the distance, he spotted a group of trees, a possible hiding spot. There, he pointed, urging the horse to pick up its pace. We can make it. They sprinted toward the trees, the leopards hot on their heels. The sound of thundering paws echoed in the air, and just as they reached the trees, Sam could feel the fear gripping him. Would they be able to hide before the leopards caught up? As they darted into the safety of the trees, Sam felt a rush of relief. They had made it, at least for now. Breathless and trembling, Sam turned to the horse, who was still panting heavily. You did it. We made it, he said, patting its side, grateful that they had escaped the leopards. But as he looked around, the reality of their situation began to sink in. They were safe for the moment, but how long would that last? As he took a moment to catch his breath, Sam's mind raced. What should he do next? The leopards would not give up easily, and he knew they had to find a way to get the horse to safety. Okay, buddy, Sam whispered, looking into the horse's trusting eyes. We need a plan. The horse nickered softly, and Sam could sense its fear. Let's stick together, he promised, knowing they had faced danger and emerged stronger. In that moment, Sam realized the bond they had formed. They were both survivors in a harsh world, and together they would find a way to overcome the odds. With determination renewed, Sam began to plot their next move, fully aware that the adventure was far from over. Sam's heart raced as he stood at the edge of the quicksand, adrenaline coursing through his veins. He could see the desperation in the horse's eyes, wide and fearful, as it struggled against the gripping mud. The leopards, sleek and powerful, prowled just out of reach, their tails flicking with predatory excitement. Each moment felt stretched thin, and Sam knew he had to act fast. The tension hung in the air like a thick fog, clouding his thoughts. Would he have the courage to confront the leopards and save the horse? Okay, think, he muttered to himself, his voice barely a whisper. He could feel the weight of the moment pressing down on him. He didn't want to lose another animal to the harsh realities of the wild, especially not one as majestic as this horse. Sam remembered his training as a wildlife photographer, how important it was to stay calm and make quick decisions in critical moments. He focused on the horse, willing it to hold on just a little longer. Gathering his courage, he stepped closer to the quicksand. Hey! Over here, he shouted, his voice breaking the stillness of the savanna. The leopards turned their heads, momentarily distracted by his shout. Sam took a deep breath and waved his arms, trying to catch their attention. You're not getting this horse. Not on my watch. The leopards paused, assessing the situation, their keen instincts on high alert. Sam knew that drawing their attention was risky, but he had to buy the horse some time. As the leopards hesitated, Sam's mind raced with thoughts of what to do next. He glanced around, looking for anything that could help him, something to use as a distraction, or perhaps a tool to aid in the rescue. His eyes fell on a sturdy branch lying on the ground nearby. That'll work, he thought, sprinting toward it while keeping his gaze on the leopards, who were now watching him intently. He grabbed the branch, feeling its weight in his hands, and returned to the edge of the quicksand. With a quick glance at the horse, he noticed its panicked eyes darting back and forth between him and the approaching leopards. Stay calm. I'm going to help you. Sam shouted, raising the branch high above his head. The leopards, now fully focused on him, began to inch closer, their muscles tensing for a potential attack. "Come on, buddy," Sam urged the horse, his heart racing as he prepared for a confrontation. He knew the leopards were fast and deadly, but he also knew he couldn't let fear paralyze him. He took a deep breath and shouted again, "Hey! You want this? Come and get it." He swung the branch, creating a loud cracking noise that echoed across the savanna. The leopards paused, confusion flickering across their faces as they considered this unexpected challenge. For a moment, it seemed to work. The leopards hesitated, their predatory instincts battling against their curiosity. But then, sensing their prey was still trapped and vulnerable, they resumed their advance. Sam's heart sank as he realized the leopards weren't going to back off easily. Think, he urged himself, scanning the area for any other options. Just then, the ground beneath his feet shifted slightly, and he felt a sense of urgency wash over him. Time was running out for the horse, and he needed to act fast. Sam knew he couldn't let the leopards get any closer. He took another step forward, determination fueling his actions. "Hey! I'm not afraid of you," he shouted, brandishing the branch as if it were a sword. As he moved closer to the quicksand, he could see the horse starting to tire. Its legs were sinking deeper, and it was beginning to panic. "Just a little longer, buddy," Sam called out, trying to keep the horse focused on him instead of the looming danger. He could feel the tension in the air thickening, as if the very savanna was holding its breath, waiting to see what would happen next. In that moment, as Sam stood between the leopards and the horse, he realized he needed a plan. He thought back to all the documentaries he had watched about wildlife rescue. "Okay," he whispered to himself, "you need to create a distraction." With a deep breath, Sam took a step back, keeping his eyes on the leopards, who were still intent on the trapped horse. Using his instincts, he began to shout and wave his arms more frantically, trying to get their attention. "Hey! Look at me! I'm right here! Come on!" He felt a surge of adrenaline as the leopards momentarily redirected their focus toward him. It was working, sort of. But he needed more time. As he continued to yell, he noticed movement out of the corner of his eye. A small group of tourists had appeared on the other side of the quicksand, witnessing the chaotic scene unfold. Their faces registered shock as they took in the sight of the horse, the leopards, and Sam's desperate attempts to save the day. "Someone call for help," one of them shouted, pulling out a phone. Sam felt a flicker of hope. If they could alert the authorities or animal rescue, they might be able to intervene before it was too late. "Help is on the way," Sam yelled back to them, but his focus remained on the leopards. He couldn't let them break their gaze on him. The leopards were now pacing back and forth, seemingly confused by the commotion but still poised to pounce if the opportunity arose. Come on," Sam muttered to himself as he watched the horse's eyes widen in fear. Just then, he spotted a pile of rocks a few feet away. An idea struck him. If he could grab a few rocks and throw them away from the quicksand, it might divert the leopard's attention long enough for him to make a move. With a burst of energy, Sam dashed toward the rocks, snatching up a handful. He turned back, his heart pounding as he prepared to throw them. "Hey! Over here!" he shouted again, launching the rocks into the tall grass to his left. The sound of the rocks clattering to the ground caught the leopard's interest, and they paused, their heads snapping toward the noise. In that moment, Sam took a chance. He sprinted back toward the horse, determined to help it free itself from the quicksand. "Hang on! I'm coming," he shouted, adrenaline surging through him as he reached the edge of the quicksand once more. The horse whinnied in distress, and Sam could see the panic in its eyes. "Just a little more," he encouraged, bending down to examine how deep the horse was trapped. The quicksand was sticky and thick, but he could see that if they worked together, they might just make it. "You're strong. I know you can do this," Sam shouted, hoping to instill some confidence in the frightened animal. The leopards, intrigued by the noise and Sam's sudden movement, turned back toward him, their eyes narrowing. He felt the hairs on the back of his neck stand up. This is it, he whispered to himself, bracing for what might come next. Would the leopards take the bait, or would they pounce before he could help the horse? Just as he was about to reach for the horse's harness, he heard a distant roar of an engine. The sound grew louder, and Sam's heart leaped. "Help is here," he yelled, his voice filled with hope. The leopards momentarily hesitated, their ears perked up at the noise. "Come on, come on," Sam urged, desperation filling his voice. He grabbed onto the horse's harness, ready to pull with all his strength. The quicksand felt like it was pulling the horse deeper, but Sam was determined to keep it from going under. With a final push, he called out, "Let's go. Pull together." As he tugged on the harness, the horse let out a whinny, and they both strained against the quicksand. In that moment, Sam felt a surge of determination, knowing that every ounce of strength mattered. And just as the leopards prepared to charge, the sound of the engine roared closer, and the figure of a ranger appeared, driving toward them on an ATV. "Hold on," the ranger shouted as he approached, ready to help. The leopards paused, their attention shifting to this new threat. Sam couldn't believe it. Help had finally arrived. With a surge of relief, he kept pulling, giving everything he had. "Just a little more," he yelled to the horse, feeling the adrenaline pushing him forward. The ranger jumped off the ATV, grabbing a lasso from the back. "Stay back," he shouted to the leopards, who were now sizing up the newcomer. "I'll handle this." Sam felt a wave of gratitude as the ranger moved swiftly to assist. Together, they managed to pull the horse free from the quicksand just as the leopards decided to retreat into the brush, realizing the odds were against them. Sam and the ranger heaved, pulling the horse to safety. With one final tug, the horse stumbled out of the quicksand, its legs shaky but free. As the adrenaline began to fade, Sam knelt beside the horse, breathing heavily. "You did it. You're okay now," he said, patting the horse gently. The ranger stood beside him, assessing the situation. "You really had me worried there," he said with a chuckle. "Nice work, team." Sam smiled, feeling a rush of relief and accomplishment. They had saved the horse from certain danger, and the community was coming together to protect its wildlife. It was a reminder that sometimes, in the face of peril, people could rally together to make a difference. As the sun began to set, painting the sky with shades of orange and pink, Sam felt a sense of hope wash over him. Together, they had faced down danger and saved a life. It was a day he would never forget, a testament to the bond between humans and animals and the strength of a community willing to protect its own. Just as Sam spotted a long branch nearby, ready to use it as leverage, the leopards lunged toward him, their growls reverberating in the air like thunder. Sam's heart dropped into his stomach. The creatures were beautiful yet terrifying, their sleek bodies poised for attack. Adrenaline surged through him, and he swung the branch instinctively, trying to ward them off. "Hey! Back off," he shouted, his voice stronger than he felt. The leopards paused for a moment, their golden eyes fixating on him. Sam felt a momentary surge of triumph. They had noticed him. But that triumph was short-lived as one of the leopards hissed, baring its teeth. Sam quickly realized that he was now the target. He needed to distract them long enough for the horse to regain its footing. With his heart racing, Sam took a step back, positioning himself between the leopards and the struggling horse. The quicksand had nearly swallowed the horse, and its desperate whinnies echoed through the savannah. "Come on, buddy. You can do it," Sam shouted, his voice a mix of encouragement and urgency. The leopards growled softly, and Sam could see the calculated movements of their bodies as they circled around him. "This isn't going to end well if I don't think fast," he muttered under his breath, feeling the weight of the situation. He had only moments before the leopards decided to attack. He remembered a trick he had learned from watching wildlife documentaries: make yourself look bigger. Sam raised the branch over his head, waving it as he shouted louder, "Get away! You don't want this!" One of the leopards hesitated, its ears flattening against its head as it assessed the situation. But the other seemed undeterred, its body low to the ground as it prepared to spring. Sam's heart raced as he shifted his weight, trying to keep his focus on both the leopards and the horse. "Please, please don't do this," he urged, feeling desperation creep into his voice. Just then, out of the corner of his eye, Sam noticed the horse making a small but significant effort to pull its legs from the quicksand. It was a struggle, but he could see that the animal wasn't ready to give up just yet. "That's it. Keep trying," he yelled, his voice filled with hope. Sam's encouragement seemed to resonate with the horse, which began to thrash its legs even harder, sending droplets of mud flying. But Sam's moment of hope was cut short when he felt a sudden rush of air behind him. One of the leopards had decided to close the distance, pouncing forward. Sam turned, swinging the branch instinctively, but the leopard was faster. In a heart-stopping instant, the creature was inches from him, its powerful body poised to strike. Sam's instincts kicked in, and he dove to the side, narrowly avoiding the predator's lunge. He hit the ground hard, rolling to regain his footing. "This is not how it ends," he shouted defiantly, his voice echoing across the savannah. He sprang back up, brandishing the branch like a sword, adrenaline coursing through his veins. The leopards, momentarily confused by his sudden movement, hesitated just long enough for Sam to reposition himself. "Stay back," he yelled, hoping to intimidate them. At that moment, he glanced back at the horse, who was still fighting against the quicksand. The situation felt hopeless, but Sam could see the horse's eyes filled with fear and determination. "You've got to hang on," he cried, feeling a rush of empathy for the animal. The leopards circled around him, but he couldn't let them divert his attention from the real danger. The horse was still in peril. Sam took a deep breath, steadying his grip on the branch. He needed to think fast. "If I can just create a distraction, maybe I can get the horse out," he thought, searching for anything that could help. He scanned the area, his eyes darting around the savannah. There. A few rocks lay scattered near the edge of the quicksand. If he could throw them away from the horse, perhaps he could divert the leopard's attention long enough to give the horse a fighting chance. In a moment of inspiration, Sam grabbed a handful of stones and flung them into the bushes to his left, shouting, "Hey, look over here." The leopards paused, their heads snapping toward the noise. One of them hesitated, intrigued by the sound. "Now's your chance, buddy," Sam yelled at the horse, who seemed to sense the change in the air. The horse's body tensed as it struggled to pull its legs free from the clutches of the quicksand. "Come on. You can do it," Sam shouted, urging both the horse and himself to keep pushing forward. With a surge of adrenaline, the horse let out a powerful whinny, a sound filled with both fear and determination. Sam could see its legs straining against the quicksand, muscles flexing as it pulled with everything it had. The second leopard, noticing the commotion, turned back toward the horse, ready to attack. "Hey! Over here!" Sam yelled, his voice raw with effort. He swung the branch wildly, trying to capture the leopard's attention once more. The first leopard, still distracted by the noise, took a hesitant step back, while the second one remained fixed on the horse. Sam knew he had to act fast. "You can't give up," he called to the horse. "Keep fighting." The sound of the leopard's growls filled the air, but Sam refused to let fear control him. And if you like the story, remember to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell. He was determined to protect the horse, no matter the cost. Just then, the horse took another desperate leap, its hooves finally breaking free from the quicksand's grip. It stumbled forward, its strength returning as it regained some balance. "Yes. Come on," Sam shouted, his heart pounding in his chest. But the leopards, sensing their prey escaping, moved in closer, their instincts kicking in. As the horse found its footing, Sam felt a surge of hope. "You can do it. Get out of here," he yelled, his voice echoing in the vast savannah. The horse bolted, panic driving it to escape the imminent danger. But the leopards were fast, closing the distance as they sprang forward. In a flash, Sam had to make a split-second decision. He could either continue to fend off the leopards or risk it all to help the horse escape. "No. Not on my watch," he thought, determination surging through him. He threw the branch with all his might, aiming for the nearest leopard, hoping to distract it just long enough for the horse to get away. The branch struck the ground near the leopard, creating a loud thud that made it hesitate. "Go! Run!" Sam yelled, praying the horse would take his words to heart. In that moment, the horse turned, galloping away from the quicksand, its hooves pounding against the earth. The leopards, now fully aware of the situation, paused to reconsider their attack, allowing Sam a brief moment of hope. "Keep going!" Sam shouted, relief flooding through him as he watched the horse gain distance. But the leopards were not done yet. They were agile and powerful predators, and they quickly refocused on their target. Sam felt his heart drop again as he realized the danger was far from over. "Why won't you just leave it alone?" he yelled, facing the leopards. He knew he was in their territory, and he was putting himself in danger, but he wouldn't stand by and let them harm the horse. Summoning every ounce of courage, he brandished the branch again, preparing to defend the horse to the last. Just as the leopards were about to spring into action, the unexpected sound of approaching footsteps broke through the tension. Sam turned his head slightly, hoping for more help. A small group of local wildlife rangers had arrived, their uniforms bright against the backdrop of the savannah. "Hey! Step away from the horse," one of the rangers shouted, raising a tranquilizer gun. Relief washed over Sam as he realized they had arrived just in time. The leopards, startled by the noise and presence of the rangers, paused, their instinct to flee kicking in. "Good timing," Sam yelled, waving his arms. "The horse is hurt, and those leopards were about to attack." The rangers quickly assessed the scene, focusing on the leopards and ensuring the horse was safe. "Get the horse to safety," one ranger ordered, and another moved quickly to flank the leopards, their presence making a difference in the unfolding chaos. With the leopards distracted, the horse continued to gallop away, gradually putting distance between itself and the danger. As the rangers closed in on the leopards, Sam felt a wave of relief wash over him. The horse had escaped, and the professionals were now in control. The leopards, sensing the shift in the atmosphere, began to retreat into the tall grass, their powerful bodies slipping away silently. With the immediate danger averted, Sam turned to the rangers. "Thank you for coming. I didn't know how much longer I could keep them at bay." He took a deep breath, the adrenaline slowly leaving his system. "You did well," one of the rangers replied, giving him a nod of respect. "It takes guts to stand up to leopards." Sam looked back at the horse, which was now a safe distance away, and felt a deep sense of satisfaction. "I just couldn't let it get hurt," he said quietly, realizing the impact of his actions. "Let's check on it and make sure it's okay," another ranger said, leading the way as they approached the horse. Sam followed closely behind, grateful for their timely arrival. As they reached the horse, Sam noticed its breathing was heavy, but it seemed unharmed. The horse turned to face them, its big eyes reflecting a mixture of fear and gratitude. "You made it," Sam whispered, reaching out to gently stroke its neck. The rangers quickly assessed the horse for any signs of injury, relieved to find that it was physically all right, though shaken from the ordeal. "Good job, everyone," one ranger said, smiling at Sam. "Thanks to you, it looks like we arrived just in time." As the sun dipped lower on the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple, Sam felt a swell of emotion. He had faced danger and fought for something that mattered, and now the horse was safe. This experience had taught him about courage, community, and the bonds that connect them all. In that moment, Sam realized that he wouldn't just be a photographer, he would be an advocate for wildlife, using his voice and his experiences to make a difference. The stray puppy, who had unknowingly led him to this moment, wagged its tail happily at his feet, as if to say, "We did it together." With newfound determination, Sam knew that this adventure was just the beginning of his journey. He was ready to take a stand for those who couldn't speak for themselves and to ensure that their stories were told. As the first stars appeared in the evening sky, Sam felt a sense of hope for the future, knowing that every small act of bravery could lead to something extraordinary. Just as Sam struggled to keep the leopards at bay, he saw a figure sprinting toward them across the savannah. His heart pounded in his chest, a mix of hope and uncertainty flooding his senses. As the figure drew closer, he could see it was Mia, the local veterinarian he had often seen working tirelessly to care for the wildlife in the area. She was dressed in her usual khaki shorts and sturdy hiking boots, her ponytail bouncing with every determined step she took. "Mia!" Sam shouted, relief flooding his voice. "The horse is stuck in quicksand. Those leopards are going to attack." His words tumbled out in a rush, the urgency of the situation making him desperate for her help. He quickly gestured to the struggling horse, who was still flailing in the quicksand, its eyes wide with fear. Sam could hardly believe that help was finally here, but the threat was still looming, and time was running out. Mia's eyes widened as she took in the scene before her. Without hesitation, she assessed the situation. "Stay back, Sam. We need to act fast," she called out, her voice steady despite the chaos surrounding them. She reached into her bag and pulled out a sturdy rope, her movements precise and practiced. "I've dealt with animals in distress before. We can save the horse together." With renewed determination, Sam nodded, grateful for her expertise. "What do you need me to do?" he asked, feeling a spark of hope as he watched Mia move with purpose. She approached the edge of the quicksand carefully, her eyes fixed on the horse, who seemed to sense her presence and began to calm slightly. "We have to distract the leopards and get the rope around the horse's body. If we can do that, we can pull it to safety," Mia instructed, her focus unwavering. The leopards were still watching closely, their bodies tense as they waited for an opportunity to pounce. Sam felt a rush of adrenaline, knowing they were running out of time. "Okay," Sam replied, glancing back at the leopards. "I'll try to keep them occupied while you get the rope." His heart raced as he took a deep breath, steeling himself for what he was about to do. He was terrified but knew that he had to protect both Mia and the horse. With a quick wave of his arm, he shouted loudly, "Hey! Look at me!" The leopards perked up, their heads swiveling toward him. Sam felt a surge of determination as he continued to shout, waving his arms and jumping up and down to grab their attention. "Over here, you big cats," he yelled, trying to sound more confident than he felt. The leopards hesitated, their predatory instincts torn between the easy target of the trapped horse and the unexpected distraction before them. Meanwhile, Mia moved swiftly, approaching the horse with caution. "It's okay, buddy. We're going to get you out of here," she murmured, her voice soft and reassuring. The horse's wide eyes met hers, and for a moment, there was a connection, a glimmer of trust amidst the panic. Mia reached for the rope, her hand steady as she prepared to secure it around the horse's body. Sam felt a flicker of hope as he saw the horse respond to Mia's calm demeanor. But the leopards were still watching, their muscles coiled tightly, ready to spring into action at any moment. Sam's heart raced as he continued to shout and wave his arms, trying to keep the attention on himself. "Come on! I'm right here," he yelled, hoping to draw the leopards away from the horse. Just as he thought he had their focus, one of the leopards began to inch closer, its eyes locked onto the horse again. "No, no, no!" Sam thought, panic rising within him. "Stay away!" He felt a rush of fear but pushed it down, knowing that he had to keep going. Mia was now just inches away from the horse, and he could see her determination as she prepared to tie the rope. "Now, hold still," she instructed the horse, her voice soothing. The horse whinnied, seeming to sense that help was at hand. In a final desperate move, Sam sprinted toward the leopards, trying to position himself between them and the horse. "Hey! Look at me," he shouted again, waving the branch he had picked up earlier. The leopards paused, and for a brief moment, Sam felt a flicker of victory. He could see Mia working quickly to secure the rope. Mia's heart raced as she expertly looped the rope around the horse's body, ensuring it was secure. "I've got it," she called out, glancing at Sam. "Now, pull." They both gripped the rope tightly, using all their strength as the horse struggled against the quicksand, its hooves sinking deeper with every passing second. The leopards, sensing their chance, began to circle closer, growling softly. Sam's pulse quickened. Mia, we need to hurry, he yelled, fear coursing through him. With all their might, they pulled on the rope, encouraging the horse to move forward. Come on, buddy. You can do it, Sam shouted, determination in his voice. As they struggled, the leopards charged forward, their movements swift and deadly. Just as Sam felt a surge of panic, a loud noise broke through the tension, a horn blared in the distance. It was a truck rumbling down the road, approaching the area. The sound startled the leopards, and for a moment, they hesitated. Now! Pull harder! Mia shouted, sensing the change in the atmosphere. Sam gripped the rope with all his strength, pulling as hard as he could. The horse began to move, inching closer to solid ground. Every muscle in Sam's body strained as he felt the weight of the horse against the rope, but he wouldn't let go. Finally, with one final push, the horse broke free from the quicksand, stumbling onto solid ground. Sam and Mia cheered, their hearts soaring with relief. But the leopards, still wary, were beginning to circle again. Let's get out of here, Mia shouted, leading the horse away from the edge of the quicksand. Sam followed close behind, keeping an eye on the leopards as they backed away slowly, realizing their opportunity had slipped away. The truck that had arrived was filled with wildlife conservationists who had seen the commotion from the road. They hopped out, quickly assessing the situation. What happened here? One of them asked, rushing to assist. Sam, still catching his breath, pointed to the leopards. They were about to attack the horse that was stuck in quicksand. The conservationists quickly moved to secure the area, ensuring the leopards wouldn't pose a threat any longer. With the horse now safe and the danger averted, Mia and Sam stepped back, relief washing over them. The conservationists began to calm the horse, providing it with water and checking for injuries. Sam felt a wave of gratitude as he watched the professionals take charge. You did it, Mia exclaimed, turning to Sam with a bright smile. We saved the horse. Sam couldn't help but smile back, feeling a sense of accomplishment. The bond they had formed in that moment was unbreakable, and together they had faced a life-threatening challenge. As the conservationists continued to care for the horse, Sam and Mia took a step back, allowing the professionals to do their job. The puppy, now trailing behind them, wagged its tail happily, as if it knew it had played a crucial role in bringing them together. We should stay in touch, Mia suggested, glancing at Sam. This could be the start of something great for wildlife rescue in our area. Sam nodded, feeling excited about the possibilities. They had faced danger together, and now they had the opportunity to make a real difference. As the sun began to dip below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, Sam knew that their adventure wasn't over. They had uncovered a connection between themselves and the wildlife they cared about, and he was determined to continue working alongside Mia to protect animals in need. The experience had shown him the importance of teamwork, courage, and compassion. With the puppy leading the way, they walked back toward the truck, ready to take on whatever challenges lay ahead. Together, they would ensure that no animal would face danger alone, and they would create a future where both people and wildlife could thrive. The atmosphere around the quicksand pit crackled with tension as Sam and Mia formulated their daring plan. Time was slipping away, and the leopard's piercing eyes were fixed on the horse, who was still thrashing helplessly. Sam could feel the urgency in Mia's voice as she laid out their strategy. We have to work quickly. I'll approach the horse to calm it down and get the rope around it. You need to keep the leopards distracted, she instructed, her tone firm and confident. Sam nodded, adrenaline pumping through his veins. I can do that, he replied, trying to sound braver than he felt. He looked at the leopards, their sleek bodies poised and ready to pounce. There was no time for doubt, he had to focus. As he took a deep breath, he could feel his heart racing. Mia reached into her bag and pulled out a sturdy rope, her movements deliberate. When I give the signal, you need to make as much noise as possible. We have to make them think we're a bigger threat than they are. Sam felt a surge of determination. He was ready to protect the horse and Mia at all costs. I'll wave my arms and shout. Just be careful, okay, he added, glancing at her with concern. Mia smiled reassuringly, and he could see the determination in her eyes. "Don't worry, Sam. Just keep them busy," she said with a nod before she started making her way toward the trapped horse, who seemed to sense her presence and quieted down a bit, but the panic was still evident in its eyes. As Mia approached the horse slowly, Sam turned his attention back to the leopards, who were now watching with narrowed eyes. He knew he had to time his actions perfectly. The leopards were smart and could sense any weakness. With the branch still in hand, Sam took a step forward and yelled, "Hey! You two! Over here!" His voice echoed across the savannah, cutting through the tension. The leopard's head snapped in his direction, curiosity piqued. Sam could see them twitching their ears, sizing him up. They were assessing the threat. "That's right. You want me? Come and get me," he shouted, waving the branch in the air. He tried to keep his voice steady, but he felt a chill run down his spine as they began to move toward him, their muscles rippling with predatory grace. With each step closer they took, Sam's heart raced. "Mia, hurry," he thought, glancing back at her. She was already at the horse, her hands moving quickly to wrap the rope around its body. He could see her whispering soothing words, trying to calm it down. The horse was still frightened, but it seemed to respond to her presence. "Just a little longer," Mia urged softly as she secured the rope, tying it gently around the horse's midsection. Sam could see the determination on her face. She was focused and knew what she was doing. Meanwhile, the leopards were now just a few feet away, their eyes glinting with hunger. Sam swung the branch again, stepping further away from the quicksand. "Hey! Look at me, you cats," he shouted, trying to sound tougher than he felt. The leopards stopped in their tracks, momentarily distracted by his bravado. They growled softly, their eyes flickering between Sam and the horse. With the leopard's attention diverted, Mia took a deep breath and pulled on the rope, signaling to Sam. "Now," she called out, her voice firm and urgent. Sam sprang into action, waving the branch over his head and shouting, "You don't want to mess with me. I'm bigger and louder." The leopards hesitated, clearly weighing their options. Sam's heart raced as he held his ground, hoping that his distraction would be enough. He continued to shout and move, trying to create a barrier between the predators and the horse. "Come on, just a little longer," he encouraged Mia silently. Mia was doing her best to reassure the horse, gently tugging on the rope. "You can do this." "Just a bit more," she whispered, her voice soothing. The horse began to pull against the quicksand, its instinct to survive kicking in. Sam could see the determination in its eyes as it fought against the muck. As the leopards shifted their attention back to the horse, Sam shouted louder, "Hey! Look at me!" He waved his arms wildly, trying to appear as threatening as possible. The leopards growled, but they were torn between the easier prey, the horse, and the noisy human waving a branch. Mia continued to pull on the rope, her muscles straining as she urged the horse to make one last effort. "You can do it! Just a bit more strength," she yelled, determination shining in her eyes. Just then, the horse let out a powerful whinny and lunged forward, pulling against the quicksand with all its might. Sam's heart leaped as he saw the animal inch closer to freedom. But the leopards were ready to pounce. They could sense the movement and shifted their focus back to the horse, their instincts taking over. "Sam! Now!" Mia shouted as the leopards lunged forward. In that instant, Sam knew he had to act quickly. He took a deep breath and threw the branch toward the closest leopard. It landed with a thud, and the startled leopard paused for just a moment. "Get back!" Sam yelled, his voice echoing in the air. The other leopard hesitated, unsure whether to continue its attack or back off. Mia seized the moment and yanked the rope with all her strength, urging the horse forward. "Come on! Just a little more," she shouted, her voice filled with fierce determination. The horse responded, pulling itself free from the quicksand with a final heave. Sam couldn't believe his eyes as the horse stumbled onto solid ground, whinnying in relief. But the leopards were not done yet. They growled low in their throats, their predatory instincts kicking in as they turned their attention toward the newly freed horse. "Mia, we need to get out of here now," Sam yelled, panic rising in his chest. Mia nodded, still holding onto the rope. "Let's move," she called, pulling the horse away from the quicksand. They had to get the horse to safety before the leopards decided to attack. As they retreated, Sam quickly scanned the area for any escape routes. "We can head toward the tree line," he suggested, pointing toward a nearby grove of trees. "We might be able to lose them in there." Mia agreed, and together they led the horse away from the danger. The leopards growled, clearly frustrated, but they didn't follow immediately. The two of them urged the horse to move faster, knowing they had to put as much distance between them and the predators as possible. With each step, Sam felt a mix of relief and urgency. They had saved the horse from the quicksand, but the threat of the leopards still loomed large. The adrenaline coursing through his veins pushed him forward as they ran toward the safety of the trees. Finally, as they reached the edge of the tree line, they turned to see the leopards hesitate at the edge of the quicksand. Sam and Mia paused, panting heavily as they watched the animals assess the situation. "Are they following us?" Sam whispered, his heart racing. Mia shook her head, her eyes wide. "I don't think so. They're more focused on the quicksand right now." The tension in the air began to lift as they stepped further into the safety of the trees. Once they were far enough in, they slowed down, allowing the horse to catch its breath. "We did it," Mia said, a mixture of disbelief and triumph in her voice. Sam nodded, feeling a sense of victory wash over him. They had managed to save the horse from both the quicksand and the leopards. As they caught their breath, Sam reached out to gently pat the horse's neck. "You're safe now, buddy," he said softly, relieved to see the horse's eyes calm as it realized it was out of danger. "Thank goodness we were here," Mia added, looking at Sam with a smile. "I don't think I've ever been that scared in my life." Sam chuckled, still feeling the adrenaline rush. "Same here. But we couldn't just let it go like that. We had to do something." As they stood together, the horse nuzzled against them, its gratitude evident. Sam and Mia exchanged glances, both knowing they had formed a special bond with this animal through their shared experience. "Let's take it back to the ranch," Mia suggested, her voice filled with determination. "It needs food and water, and we can make sure it's safe." Sam nodded, feeling a sense of purpose. And if you like the story, remember to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell. Absolutely. Let's get it home. With renewed energy, they led the horse deeper into the trees, away from the quicksand and potential danger. As they walked, Sam couldn't help but feel a sense of pride for what they had accomplished together. They had faced danger head-on and emerged victorious. This was a day he would never forget, a day where they had come together to save a life against all odds. And as they made their way back to the ranch, he knew this was just the beginning of many more adventures to come. With adrenaline coursing through her veins, Mia felt a surge of determination as she held the rope tightly around the horse's body. "On the count of 3, Sam," she shouted, her voice cutting through the thick tension in the air. The leopards were now just a few feet away, their sleek bodies poised for a strike. Sam glanced back at them, fear gripping his heart, but he knew they had to act fast. 1, 2, 3. Pull! Mia yelled as they both yanked with all their strength. The horse strained against the quicksand, its hooves kicking and flailing in panic. The ground felt unstable beneath them, but Mia refused to let go. "You're okay, buddy. We've got you," she coaxed, trying to reassure the frightened animal. With a great effort, they pulled the horse closer to the edge of the quicksand, but it was still sinking. The leopards were circling them, their eyes glinting with hunger. Sam could feel his heart pounding louder than ever, each beat echoing in his ears. Come on, he urged, feeling the pressure mounting. The horse let out a desperate whinny, and in that moment, it felt as if time had slowed down. Sam glanced at the leopards, now stalking toward them with predatory grace. They were so close that he could see the muscles in their bodies tensing, ready to spring into action. "Mia, they're going to charge," he yelled, gripping the branch tightly. "I can't let go." Mia shouted back, her focus unwavering. They were so close to freeing the horse, and she couldn't let fear overwhelm her. Just then, one of the leopards let out a low growl, its eyes fixed on the horse, and in that instant, Sam felt a wave of panic crash over him. "Hey! Over here!" Sam shouted, waving the branch wildly to distract the leopards. "Look at me!" The leopards paused, their heads snapping toward him. Sam took a deep breath, trying to channel his fear into determination. "You want a meal? Come get me." The larger of the two leopards hesitated for a moment, sizing him up, and then suddenly lunged forward. "Mia!" Sam shouted, his heart racing. "They're coming." He swung the branch in an arc, hoping to fend off the attack. "Just a little more," Mia urged, her voice strained. They pulled harder, and the horse gave a final desperate effort, hooves clawing at the ground. With one last push, they managed to pull the horse free from the quicksand, its body slipping onto solid ground. But the danger wasn't over. The leopards, sensing their opportunity slipping away, surged forward, their sleek forms darting with alarming speed. Mia didn't hesitate. She quickly stepped in front of the horse, creating a barrier with her body. "Stay back," she shouted, brandishing the rope like a whip. "Get back, horse!" Sam yelled, heart pounding in his chest as he grabbed another branch. He stood firm, facing the leopards, trying to keep them at bay. The animals snarled, baring their teeth as they prepared to pounce, but they hesitated, caught between their instinct to hunt and the unexpected threat before them. "Mia, we need to get the horse to safety," Sam urged, his voice steady despite the chaos surrounding them. He glanced back at the horse, which seemed to sense the urgency in the air, its breath coming in quick, panicked gasps. "We can't let them get to it." "On three again," Mia exclaimed, her eyes fierce with determination. "We'll guide it toward the trees." They both nodded, and with adrenaline pumping through their veins, they prepared for one final push. 1, 2, 3. With a coordinated effort, they guided the horse, urging it to move as they stepped back to create space. The horse stumbled but moved forward, its instincts kicking in as it sensed safety in the distance. The leopards, realizing their prey was escaping, lunged forward again, claws extended and teeth bared. "No!" Sam shouted, desperation clawing at him. He swung the branch at the nearest leopard, narrowly missing it as the animal darted past him. But the distraction worked. The leopards hesitated just long enough for Mia to grab the rope and secure it around the horse's neck. "Come on! Keep moving!" Mia shouted, her voice filled with urgency. They had to get the horse to safety before the leopards could regroup. The horse, now more aware of the danger, bolted forward, following Mia and Sam toward the shelter of the nearby trees. As they ran, the leopards snapped at their heels, their growls echoing ominously through the air. Sam felt his heart race as he glanced back, adrenaline surging through his veins. "We're almost there." "Just a bit further," he urged, his voice hoarse with effort. But the leopards were relentless, their powerful bodies closing the gap. Mia risked a glance back, her heart pounding. "We can't let them catch up," she yelled. They were so close to the trees now, and the horse seemed to sense the urgency of the moment. "Into the trees, now!" Sam shouted, determination fueling his every step. They dashed toward the safety of the thick foliage, weaving through the trunks and branches. The horse followed closely, its breathing ragged but steady. Just as they reached the edge of the trees, the lead leopard lunged, but Mia and Sam pushed the horse through the branches just in time. The horse stumbled into the dense underbrush, and the leopard skidded to a halt, unable to follow through the tangled growth. "Keep going, buddy. You're safe now," Mia shouted, watching as the horse darted deeper into the trees, its fear driving it forward. Sam turned to face the leopards, the branch raised high. "Get back," he yelled, ready to defend the horse at all costs. The leopards paced back and forth, growling in frustration as they tried to find a way through the trees. But the underbrush was too thick, and they soon realized they had lost their chance. With one last glance at Sam and Mia, they turned and melted back into the savannah, their sleek forms disappearing into the grass. Breathless, Mia turned to Sam, who was panting heavily. "We did it! We actually did it," she exclaimed, her heart racing with relief. They had saved the horse against all odds, and as they caught their breath, the weight of what they had accomplished began to sink in. Sam smiled, adrenaline still coursing through his veins. "I can't believe we actually pulled it off," he replied, glancing back at the trees where the horse had disappeared. "But we can't just leave it out there. It needs help." "I agree," Mia said, her voice steady with determination. "We should find it and make sure it's okay." They exchanged a knowing look, understanding that their work wasn't over yet. The rescue had been successful, but now they had to ensure the horse was safe and sound. Together, they ventured deeper into the woods, calling out softly in hopes that the horse would respond. "Hey there, buddy. It's okay. We're here to help," Mia called gently, her heart full of compassion. The shadows of the trees danced around them, and for a moment they felt the weight of their adventure pressing down. Suddenly, they heard a whinny in the distance, and hope surged through them. "That's it! That's the horse!" Sam exclaimed, picking up the pace. They moved swiftly, navigating through the trees, following the sound of the horse's calls. After a few moments, they emerged into a small clearing where the horse stood, its coat glistening in the dappled sunlight. It was clearly shaken but otherwise unharmed. "Thank goodness," Mia breathed, relief flooding her as she approached the horse slowly. "Hey, girl," Sam said softly, extending a hand. "We're here to help you. You're safe now." The horse stepped forward hesitantly, sniffing Sam's hand before leaning into his touch. Mia smiled at the sight, feeling a wave of warmth wash over her. "We did it, Sam. We saved her," she whispered, her heart swelling with pride. The bond between them and the horse was palpable, and they knew they had made a difference that day. As they stood in the clearing, the sun shining brightly overhead, Mia and Sam shared a moment of triumph. They had faced danger together, and now they had emerged victorious. The experience had changed them both, leaving a lasting impression that would stay with them for years to come. "This horse is lucky to have us," Sam said, gently stroking the horse's mane. "But we need to get her back to safety and check if she has any injuries." Mia nodded, her heart full of determination. "Let's take her back to the farm where she belongs. She deserves a safe home." As they led the horse through the trees and back toward the savannah, they knew that this was just the beginning of their journey together. They had forged a bond not only with each other but also with the creatures they sought to protect. And as the sun began to set, painting the sky in vibrant hues of orange and pink, they felt a sense of hope for the future. They were ready to take on whatever challenges lay ahead, united in their mission to save and protect the animals of the wild. With each step, they were reminded of the strength that comes from teamwork, compassion, and the courage to face danger head-on. Together, they would ensure that no creature would face peril alone again. And if you like the story, remember to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell.